Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Lo-Five Gaming Podcast. My name is Alex, your co-host with my brother Luke, the other co-host. That's how that works, right? Are we hosts? We co-hosts? I guess we're co-hosts together hosting a podcast called Lo-Five Gaming.
There we are.
Right on.
Figured it out.
Cool, dude. Well, thanks to everybody who's been listening. Super fucking cool.
Shouts out.
Yeah,
you want
to shout some people, dude?
Hit up that Discord.
That's true. Holler at the homies on the Discord. It's been a lot of fun. Shout out to the homie Ricky, early Discord joiner. A few more people joining. Kind of a fun little group there. It's just a nice little place to. That's where you're gonna catch us, I guess. If you want to interact with the Lo-Fi boys, that's where you're gonna catch us. Because Luke's ass not on social media.
Yeah.
But
very happy about that. But I will mess with some Discord. I don't hate it. It took me some time. You definitely had to do some cajoling, as they say, to get me going, because I'm adverse to any type of social media. But it's been fun jumping on there. It's out Tubby Temptress. We can get a little book club going there when I catch a little free time there. So he's got a good suggestion there. I'll get you on the next one because I got to start reading it before I talk about it. But look out for a little book club thing. We got a little. What do you call the different forums in there? What do you call the different forums in there?
I don't know, bro.
Well, you're the them different sections within the lounge.
Yeah, totally. What do they call those things?
I don't know. Hit us up, Discord. What do you call your things?
They're channels. We got different channels going on.
Yeah, we'll have a little book club one. So I think that'll be fun to do. So that'll be tight.
Yeah, we always got a channel for, anyways, with spoilers, Dead Cells. This episode is about Dead Cells.
Yeah.
But
I said that to my wife before we got here, and she goes, "Ew, what a gross game name."
It is.
I was like,
nasty.
I guess. Didn't think of it that way, but
yeah. So we always we'll drop in there, and one channel that kind of tells you what's coming up. So if you want to play along with us for what the forthcoming pod's going to be on, that's always you're welcome to join the conversation. And who knows, we might use some of that fodder for the pod. So definitely jump in there. Dead Cells is this episode. Our next planned episode is the new Kirby game. And the way the time works, we're trying to squeeze that one in there. But I think we'll be able to do it. Kirby traditionally is not too heavy of a lift.
7 to 10 hours long.
We're
so
hoping.
we'll be able to get
watch. It's just like the most grueling Kirby that's ever been made.
What a great time that would be, though.
It would be.
Why not?
I mean, I'm down. And we're going to see if we can't sneak in some Majora's Mask.
It's been a fun time playing. Got to get you going on that one.
Right.
But got some discourse in the Discord about it already. So we've been talking about it a little bit. And get that one going.
Join the damn Discord. If you want, whatever. Do whatever you want. We don't care.
But yeah, also do your thing.
But if you do want to join, that link is in the show notes. You can also find it on our website, which is lo5gaming.com.
Lo-5. Not fi. I never thought it was lo-fi, but it was lo-5. Yep.
Luke's like, I have a podcast. I don't really know what it's called.
I just show up and shoot, baby.
You can also follow us all over the social medias. Lo5 Gaming on the Instagram, on the Twitters, on the Facebooks. So wherever you are, we are. Wherever we are, you are. How does that work? Who cares? Whatever.
You know how a
Follow us.
podcast works. You're here.
But honestly, truly, thank you. Thank you for listening. We are chasing down 1,000 downloads, listens, which is pretty fucking humbling and cool. And we're getting close to that 90-day mark, so I think we have about 15
Only
to 20 days.
900 of them are our mom, too. So, that's pretty good, guys.
It's not bad at all. So share us with your friends. That's the biggest thing. If you've been digging this all, just share us out. That's what. Just share us out. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So this month is Dead Cells, my choice. And why did I choose this game? Honestly, I think it's because of the cover art. Because
really?
I didn't know anything about it.
Gotcha.
And I had been, I'm sure just like the influx of like media and shit we have on the internet, I'd probably seen some stuff about this, but I didn't really know too much about it. But it's got pretty rad cover art. And I just think it was maybe in the Switch shop or no, you know what? I think it was also on Game Pass for a while. So that was probably my first like,
yeah.
Oh, what is this Dead Cells thing? And I'm a sucker for metroidvanias. But
he won't play Hollow Knight. Infuriating. But continue.
Eventually.
That was my first thought when you named this game. I was like, son of a bitch. Don't pick a Metroidvania.
I've been hearing
not the one I tell him to play, but whatever.
And I would, and it's not that I'm adverse to Hollow Knight. There's just so many games, man. But this is the one we did, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it is because I saw it on Game Pass, which I no longer subscribe to because it was a money suck for my
premium backlog,
already existing backlog. But it's still a cool play. Like I think it's still a cool thing, and it makes sense for a lot of folks to use.
If I ever get the new Daddy Xbox over the PlayStation, it would be a no doubter.
For sure.
They really do put in a lot of cool stuff, and especially if you're not collecting a bunch of games and all that, and you only have a limited budget, it's pretty sweet. When I first got my PC, Game Pass was killer, so loved it.
It was a nice way for me to break in my PC too and kind of get an idea of what was going on, just play a few different games. But this, along with a handful of other ones kind of like it, or similar anyways, I think Enter the Gun... Well, they're not the same. But anyways, Enter the Gungeon was like another one of those. So there's a handful of games that I've kind of played dabbled a little bit when I was using Game Pass. And I made a list of the games, like, when these drop on the Switch, like, when they go on sale, I'm going to scoop them. Yeah. And this is one that, I was always curious about. I didn't even really watch, like, any gameplay or anything. For whatever reason, I was like, this game seems tight.
I've had it on, like, my radar forever, because like it did come out, I want to say, a little bit after there was that. We've talked about it before, but when the Switch came out, there was like not a lot of games, and then at some point in time, Dead Cells came out for the Switch, and I know it was like a pretty big deal, and I would watch like different YouTube videos on it, like Girlfriend Reviews. That's a fun one.
All right.
Are you aware at all of their concept?
I think so. So it's like basically it's like the girlfriend of a gamer or whatever gives reviews of whatever game.
This is a review not of playing the game, but living with the person who is playing the game. And I think she calls it like Christmas Lights Puking Explosion Game, because with all the different level ups, you get all these crazy things going on. But,
right.
So I was always aware of it, but I never wanted to drop the money on it, and I was always doing some other things. So when you did mention it, at first I was like, just please pick Hollow Knight eventually. It's like the greatest. But then my second thought was like, well, this is a game I've been circling for a while, and I never found the reason to buy it. So then here we are. And it was an excuse to play it, and that was it's been fun.
Yeah, man, it's been a real treat. Let's go with this trope. It's one of my best games of all time.
It's top Alex's ever expanding top 1,000.
I mean, it has been cool though, and I like it, man. And I did roll the credits. So give me that capital G, son.
You got your application in. They're not. They're sifting through your prerequisites and seeing if you can really get the capital G upgrade. But mine, I have a demerit for sure, because I didn't even. Put more hours into it than you, and never.
What can I say? I'm a better gamer now.
Mm.
Dead Cells is a rogue-lite Metroidvania inspired action platformer, right? So some folks call it a Rougeuvania.
Sure.
Right on. So that tickles like the type of games that I really like, dude. So like I love Metroidvanias, I love platformers. Throw that shit together, and it turns out you have Dead Cells, and it turns out it's tight.
It is a nice casserole of gamer traits. I'll give it that.
It's nice. Here's
dish.
Finish the Dead Cells intro here. So you'll explore a sprawling, ever-changing castle, assuming you're able to fight your way past its keepers in 2D souls-lite combat, whatever the fuck that means. Hard combat, maybe.
Yeah.
No checkpoints, kill, die, learn, repeat. So that kind of brings in your roguelite piece, the procedurally generated. They're procedurally generated, aren't they? Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the different stages are always going to change, do different build outs, different weapons, and you can take different paths to get to the end game, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I say when you start, you are literally on like this chopping block thing,
right?
And then you roll out, kick through the door, and you have like a choice between one melee, one ranged attack, and a shield. Talk a little bit later, but like, you pretty much take the range attack and the melee attack, but those are your base, and then you have a dodge roll and a jump, and it's pretty sweet, and you just kind of get going from there and get ripping and roaring and start beating up some baddies.
Let's finish this intro real quick. Early access was released for Linux, macOS, Microsoft Windows, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and that was all on August 7th, 2018. So the game's a little bit older, not super old, but a few years back. And then they actually ported to iOS in 2019, August 2019, so a year later, and then Android, another year after that, I guess. But I just think it's fascinating that this game is on mobile. So they've made this super accessible. You can play it wherever. I don't think I'd want to play on mobile unless I was using one of those controllers that can attach to your phone or whatever. But it's cool that it's available. But yeah, so that's Dead Cells, dude. Let's talk a little bit. Let's get into that gameplay you're talking about.
So you start off with like some base weapons, and then the roguelike feature of it is when you collect these cells, so your enemies drop, and that might be their souls-like kind of function, but that's also a very common
I think that's like a weird trope
thing
that people are just using all the time now when it's game's kind of difficult. They're like, it's souls-like.
Yeah, or you just want to sell more of the game, and you're like, your souls-like combat. Whereas like Blasphemous is that's probably more of an actual Souls-like experience from what I understand.
I got a little bit to say about that later on,
we'll
too.
get into all the comparisons later, but yeah, you know, and then you unlock these, you have these cells, and then in between your levels, so you clear a level similar to Enter the Gungeon if you've played, or Hades we previously talked about. You have your different levels, then you clear it. But in this game, there's like an in-between kind of home base almost. It's not a home base, but it's like it's always more or less the same.
Right.
And you can trade in these cells to get weapon upgrades, so you'll start seeing those weapons in different playthroughs. That is very similar to Enter the Gungeon.
Mm-hmm.
So you get it right away, and then in future playthroughs you might get to see that weapon and use that weapon. So the gameplay is always changing a little bit. They do different things. Yeah.
My take on it, I think the gameplay is fucking tight, dude. I think it's very well done. I love the combat and everything.
It's polished for sure.
But when it comes to the story, you're kind of putting pieces together. And I did read an article that was mentioning that the developers, Motion Twin, they made this game and the focus was always the gameplay, right? And I feel like they added that story kind of as an afterthought. Not afterthought's kind of a harsh word. They
Certainly
definitely had an idea, I'm sure.
to the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like the point is, you know, some games are very story driven, so like Hades is check out the Hades pod, but that story is huge and the gameplay's great in that too, but the story's huge, right? So this one, story is there, but it's not really super present. I do feel like it's really focused on that gameplay. And it's interesting, man. When I started in this, you start this chopping block, you're kind of putting the pieces together. It doesn't really matter. You're running through these dungeons, collecting these cells, like you mentioned, and you can use those to kind of upgrade your equipment and stuff. You're also collecting gems and money and stuff, which allow you to upgrade those items.
Yeah, and they get
Right.
into the nitty gritty, and it's like temporary upgrades. So it'll be like now when you hit an enemy, a poison gas cloud will come up all the way to when
Right.
you're at full health, you do this much extra damage. So they call them modifiers, and you reforge them or add to them. So that's pretty cool. Sometimes it's too much text, so I'll just be like, don't care.
Yeah.
Just upgrade
Sure.
this thing. Let's get going.
You notice though that sometimes I'll do that and I'll just like I cycle. I know how much like cycle or how much if I'm doing upgrades to the weapons. That has to do with the coin, right? So I know how much coin I have, and I go through and I know which items I'm using, so I want to upgrade those. I know how much coin I have, so I know how to spread it out. But I'm not reading like all of this stuff. There's a couple levels of those where if you upgrade a thing, because every time you upgrade or reforge your weapon, it gives it new attributes.
Yeah.
Right, and
Did you do the same thing I did, where you kept paying for them and you had no idea that it was just flipping, giving you new ones? And
sometimes, yeah, they always get better, but like so it will, a little bit better. But sometimes, dude, there's ones where it will double the amount of your attack.
Oh, yeah.
But it also doubles the amount of attack against you,
yeah.
which fucking sucks. Because like you'll be running through, but if you run into a boss or something, it's like one hit and the half your energy is gone. It's like woo-wee. But yeah, so I think another major piece about running through these dungeons is you're collecting these scrolls or whatever, right? That are in those
that's how you
containers.
get the different upgrades,
Right, or different weapons. So, but yeah, so those allow not only. So you were talking about upgrading your stuff in the little like safe area at the end of each biome or stage or whatever. There's also the ability to get these upgrades in each level, and there's 3 different aspects. So I
get what you're saying now. Yeah,
right. So those scroll deals that are in the tanks or whatever, when you get those, it boosts different attributes. So it adds your HP. It might make your weapon stronger or certain attacks stronger.
There's like 3 color schemes. There's like green, purple, and red, and your certain weapons that you pick up will be like aligned to one of those colors.
Yes.
So like it'll do 10% more damage for all your purple weapons, and it goes up above 100%. So you can have some super powered stuff. But...
Totally, and it's interesting too because you get it depends on the scroll. Sometimes you have to choose between 2 things. Sometimes it's 3 things, but then you can look at it. Also, they always give you a slight HP boost too, right? Mm-hmm. On the first one, you get like a 70% increase
if it's green. Yeah,
if it's green. But then I think the red one or whatever is like 65. But then if you keep choosing these things as you keep going, you get a little more strategic about like, okay, do I really want to give a boost to my power weapons now using the red? But that's only going to give me like a 15% increase in HP. Whereas I could go with the purple thing, which I can't remember that. What is that for? Anyways, but if I choose this one, it's going to give me a bigger HP boost, but it's not going to help any of my weapons, right? So it's interesting because you like kind of have to decide how to do the build out through your run. And another important thing to mention is at the very beginning at the chopping block, you go into the next room and you start choosing your weapons before the run, right?
Yeah.
But those are always random.
Yep.
So
based on what you've unlocked.
So you unlock these weapons, you get blueprints for them in your runs, and then they end up in this safe area at the beginning. And it's kind of cool because like the collector in me is like, oh, this is sweet because there's a different room where you can go look at like all these little glass things that are holding this. It's just kind of a fun thing.
It's cool to see for sure.
It is, and it also makes you realize how many weapons and how many like outfits and everything are in this game. It's pretty expansive.
One strategy is to just not unlock any of the weapons if you immediately unlock one that you love.
Oh yeah.
So when Tyler played, he just had the crossbow and it was pretty overpowered for him. Mm-hmm. So then when he kept running into it, if you have a small pool of weapons to choose from, that means when you run into them out in the wild, it's like you're going to run into it again, but higher powered. So he would use that to have like one weapon that he's continuously running into and have like an extremely powerful version of.
Okay.
But I'm too much of a spaz and I want to keep unlocking things and like, because it does change the gameplay. For example, it could be like a spear or a harpoon, and then you do critical damage when you push them up against a wall, which I think is really cool. Because there's a lot of tight corridors when you're in there, so it makes a lot of sense. Or there's like a tentacle. I don't think you were able to unlock the tentacle because you never beat my friend Conjunctivitis or whatever his real name is.
No, it's true. I don't even think I've seen him.
The tentacle will like pull you towards the person and do goofy things. So like the different weapons do fun, different things to the gameplay that change things up in a kind of delightful way.
Sure.
But the shields suck.
Dude, I think I've done like I've played roughly 15 hours of this game.
Yeah.
And I think I've done 2 runs with the shield, and I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah. No, because it's like you have to be way too patient, and I'm a spaz, and I'd rather run around. And the down pound we should talk about. That when you start the game, you're
double jump.
Do like a double jump. But the down pound, when you start the game off, you're kind of timid, and then you start learning to just smashing down when you move. Because the Metroidvania, you're going up, down, side to side.
Yep.
Different platforms. So the down pound becomes pretty key. But the one shield that I'm going to defend here is the assault shield. Did you unlock it?
I think I have it, but I kind of like a charge attack.
It pushes you forward. Yeah. But you know the dumb enemies that like, and we can get into enemies in a second, but you have different wonderful, colorful little enemies. They all do their little things. When you first run into them, they have a pattern, and you're not used to the pattern and the like fluidity of them yet, and you're not really you're figuring them out, right? It's like tiny little puzzles. But there's those little worm fuckers where when you kill them, all their little eggs and they explode. So what I realize is with the assault shield is that you don't have to time your parry in the same type of way. So when you're running past those, you can hit the assault shield and it sends a bunch of projectiles that don't hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
So if I ever get back to that final boss, I'm going to try to have that assault shield because he just spams these projectiles that just wrecked me.
But then you gotta have a shield throughout the whole thing.
But it's so helpful if you just have my mentality of just grip it and rip it and running through, and like the dodge roll. I'll get into that later, but I love the dodge roll in this game. Dodge roll combined with the shield bash is pretty sweet. Okay. And it kind of helps. And then the range stuff is cool, especially with the tougher enemies. When you're just so used to spazzing out and running and charging and down smashing, like it's pretty nice to have the assault shield. Long tangent, unsanctioned sponsor. Assault
coming
shield.
in hot.
No. But it's very cool. And then one more thing to mention with gameplay is the mutagens.
Mutagens, yeah.
Yeah, so like the one last thing in the safe area is that you get to pick one mutation up to a total of 3, I believe. Yeah. And like the first time you always got to pick the one that gives you an extra life. There's no reason to pick. Do you never play with that one?
I don't.
Why?
I always do the ones that...
It's so key.
Well, that's the beauty of this game, right? So everybody's going to play it a little differently.
Which ones do you pick, though?
I typically go with... The 3 I typically go with, I can't remember. Necromancy's one. What that does is whenever I think when you kill somebody, it gives you a little boost to HP.
Up to half of your health.
To half the health.
Yeah.
And then the other one...
I used to do that one, but I went off.
I always do that one.
Stupid.
Nah, dude. Dude, I beat this game. I rolled the credits, bro.
Cheated.
But so I use that one. I use another one that I believe when... Oh, shit, what is it? It's in the first grouping. It's another one that helps your HP, and I believe it's like when enemies are stunned or something. Or how does it work?
I don't know. I'm just saying you're wrong for picking this one.
You jerk.
All yours are stupid.
You're just jealous you dropped that capital G, bro.
Whatever.
Lowercase over here.
One to mark on my record. You're still in the application process. No, so here's how you do it.
Throwing a way back. I also beat Super Metroid and your ass didn't.
That pod doesn't exist.
We're going to start a Patreon someday and people are going to be able to listen to it.
Because they're going to live on there. And all the other things going on. So here's how you really do the mutant.
No, you're wrong.
Mutant.
The two that boost your HP is great, and then I do the combo usually, or I'll shake it up with the third.
This is what you do. You do the one that when you die, it gives you like 30% of your health back.
Not a bad idea.
You have to pick that one first, or else you can never pick it again.
I'm wondering if I don't. I might not have unlocked that one, to be honest.
I thought I started with it, but maybe I was just lucky and unlocked it pretty quickly. We'll have to run one back after this to see what's good. And then another one is, I don't remember if I unlock the backpack or if you start with the backpack, but do you have
You have
a
to unlock
backpack?
it. Yeah, I do have a backpack.
So you unlock the backpack so you can carry an extra weapon. And then there's Porcupack.
I recently unlocked this.
Porcupack is sick. So
I haven't been able to use it yet,
gives
but I
you
do have it.
77% of the item in your backpack's base damage. It'll hurt whatever enemy you dodge roll through.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it weaponizes the dodge roll because I'm always, swooping around and rolling around and avoiding stuff. So if I'm doing a little extra damage while I do that, that's perfect. And then lastly, I recently got the crow's feet. Did you ever unlock that one?
I don't think I have one. See, this game is crazy, man. There's
There
many
is
things.
some depth. It leaves little, I'll just call them tacks, like 3 tacks up to 9 on the ground. So if the opponent steps on it, it hurts them. So once again, I'm spazzing around, rolling around, hurting them with the roll, and then leaving little trails of things that hurt them with the roll again.
Right on.
And it just kind of weaponizes my movement.
Yes.
In a really cool way. And I think that's a cool way to describe the down pound too, is like if you're traversing around, it makes you faster. Mm-hmm. And then it also they do cool upgrades to it. So you can down pound and it'll put a bunch of flammable oil on the ground or different area of effect stuff. So it definitely incentivizes for you to be smashing.
Right on.
And just a random transition there. They should put this character in Smash Bros. It'd be pretty cool.
That would be fun.
There's a lot of indie stuff they should put in Smash Bros.
God,
That they
that'd be
won't.
great.
But he would make the Dead Cells character would make a cool character.
Totally. I just remembered. So the other upgrade or whatever the 3 upgrade things that you can do. The other one I picked beyond necromancy is when you have a speed boost. If you kill someone while on speed boost, it gives you more HP.
That one always looked cool, but I don't know what you do to get a speed boost.
You just kill an enemy, basically.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Because sometimes I'll see a bunch of down arrows and my guys are slower, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
so
going
the
on.
speed boosts they last for a certain amount of time, right? And you can kind of stack them. You get faster and faster as you continue. Who knows? I'm not actually sure how the speed boost gets turned on, but it gets. I'm pretty sure it happens after you kill somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like adrenaline. It's like an adrenaline rush, right?
Ah, sure.
So you kill somebody, you get a little adrenaline rush. That will last for a certain amount of time, and they build on each other, so you get faster and faster. And that's an interesting aspect about this game, especially my first few runs, dude, or first few hours, honestly. Is I would approach this game because it definitely awards or gives you incentive almost to run through the level fast, right? Or it feels that way anyways. But what I found myself and I think it makes sense to play it that way for a while because you even get bonuses at the end of each level. If you beat it under a certain amount of time, it will let you go into a certain room that will give you a whole bunch of cells, which allows you to upgrade your equipment or buy new things. It gives you a whole bunch of money and it gives you a new item or whatever.
A pretty high powered
right
too. So it's definitely worth it.
A super, yeah, exactly. Except I did realize over time that was a really good way for me to initially upgrade my character and unlock items, right?
Yeah.
But after a while, after a few hours of playing, I actually realized, for me anyways, it made more sense to explore the entire map and get all the unlockables on the map as opposed to trying to beat a level super quickly.
Yeah.
If you're playing this game for the first time, I definitely think go that fast route, kind of get a feel for everything, try and bust through there and try and get those incentivized, go the fast route. But after you have the hang of things, I would definitely suggest, taking more of the time to explore the whole thing. And that's kind of the Metroidvania player in me too. I really love exploring because as you go through, you're not just, the map isn't just there, right? The thing starts to reveal itself as you go to, there's a cloud or whatever, right? And it reveals itself through. And so what I do is I go, and there's these little portals too, which are worth, it's starting to be like the Hades pod where it's there's all this shit in this game.
Explaining 10 more things, half hour into it.
Right.
Portals help you get around. It's very similar
Exactly.
Off of one of your other points. I'm already going to bring up Enter the Gungeon, but it's the same thing in Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
hover over the little portals within a room that you unlock, but instead of it being a room, it's the side scrolling up down.
Yep.
And it'll just help you jump around the map.
Exactly. And what I like to do is once I hit a little dead end, and there's usually a nice little incentive, a nice little bonus, an item or whatever it is at that dead end, then I go, and a portal's generally placed strategically pretty close to those things.
Yeah, different helpful.
And what I'll do is I'll pull up the map and I'll look to see where the closest portal is to a place I haven't explored, and I'll go back and I'll explore the whole thing. And then once I've explored the whole thing,
you do that in the early levels too now?
I do it every single level.
I'm still fast in the first level generally.
Dude, I'm telling you, I really do think that every single level is going to have at least one of those scroll upgrades.
Yeah.
Every single level is going to have at least one
Damage,
item.
yeah.
Every single level is going to have at least one item shop. So there's all this. So it makes sense, man, to me, anyways, to do it that way.
Yeah.
And like I said, it tickles that Metroidvania itch for me.
Yeah. I would say that like I kind of like unlocked is a bit of a cliche on a gaming podcast, but it kind of unlocked the gameplay for me when I started to play fast. I felt like it was designed to do so, especially with the down smash and ripping through the level, and I feel like it helped with a lot of the enemies.
I do think it's technically. I think you're right, though. I think it is designed to play fast, especially with that adrenaline boost we were talking about.
They incentivize you to keep going, and it's very different from a game like Enter the Gungeon, where it's more tactful. Make sure you're precise, and then you kind of want to unlock the entire map before you go in and take down the boss.
Sure.
Now, for you, and then a little bit for me towards the end, it definitely became that. Especially in the later levels, I was still trying to play in that super fast mode, and it's like you just get wrecked if you keep trying to run through the later levels of the game.
Sure.
But one last thing to mention on the speed thing, you can choose multiple paths to get to the last place. So sometimes there's like the Ancient Sewers is the typical one that you think is like, let's just call it the base biome that you move on to for like level 2. They call them biomes in the game. There's an incentivized biome that's harder and has more enemies, but you have higher rewards.
Right.
And sometimes they're not even incentivized. They're just 2 branching paths. Yeah. And later on in the game, you can get to some paths that like your personal preference is not to play those ones. So you're definitely incentivized.
Sure. Because I'm pretty sure once the game realizes you're choosing one biome over another, they'll incentivize you to go to the other one.
Oh, really?
And that's when you get like a little icon in front of the doorway to choose that thing, and it'll show like the jewels and the coin, and they'll be like, enemies will drop more shit if you go this way this time.
Which is a cool way to get you to see the different stuff, and it's different art, and it's a little bit different enemies, kind of each level, more or less, like if you think of them as level 1, 2, 3, and 4, but there's level 1A, 2B.
Yep.
They all kind of have the same enemies within the same level, but the art's different, the rewards are different.
Like how do you explain it? It's like a tree, like it branches off, right? You can take different branches to get to the end game, I guess.
Yeah, which is cool for that art purpose and like just the
and it shakes up exactly. It shakes up the variety of the baddies and that kind of thing.
And to continue being spazzes who don't stay on our agenda here, the story is very passive in the sense that there's a lot of environmental storytelling. I think that's the phrase that gets used a lot, where it's like you can read little things and be like, the experiment went wrong, blah 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 blah. Right. So like you're some sort of experiment.
Sometimes you get items when you hit those little spots. So like I like will not read them, and I'll just like 100%. Flip through trying to get. But what I've been able to gather is that you are, I don't know who you are. I think I'm not entirely sure how it works, but basically your character is an assassin.
Oh, word!
I'm pretty sure.
Never put that together myself.
And then all these different like little rooms you can unlock, and you can start to pick up the story pieces. So the king, who you've never even beat,
that's close. I know who he is,
but he's going crazy, right? So like that's like the story, and then all these different rooms they will. There's a nod to the fact that there's this thing that like keeps coming and there's this dying or whatever, and that's you, it turns out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it turns out that you maybe are trying to attack this king, and the king's afraid of this assassin, but I think it might be cyclical. Like I think maybe they're doing experimentation or whatever, and the king's going crazy.
I think you were definitely experimented on. I think you're the cause of that. There's definitely some sort of event, and that kind of explains the roguelike nature of it as far as to why the castle shifts.
Yes.
Or those different things they keep calling it, and that's why the map's always different every time you play. Which is cool, because you never feel like you... I mean, if it didn't move, and it wasn't randomly procedurally generated, you just rip through on your designated path. So it's fun that you do the exploring, and it's different every time.
Right. And whatever the
very
actual...
much feels like Enter the Gungeon.
It does. It's very similar, but very different. That's the thing about these roguelites.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, like it's not a super deep story, but it's kind of fun to go through, and you get these little tidbits, and you start to put it together like, oh, these notes that I just found, they're probably about my character.
Yeah. I feel like someday if I continue to play the game a bunch, I might watch like a YouTube explainer.
Yeah, dude.
But, I'm certainly not going to sit here and piece it together myself.
Dude, I mentioned
that much.
I mentioned that I thought the artwork looked cool, so I was like, we should play this game. I didn't even see any YouTube stuff, any gameplay, or the teasers. After playing this game for like 5-6 hours, I was on YouTube, and they have super cool fucking cartoon teasers for this game.
Oh, word.
Yeah, you have to check them out. I dropped them in the Discord, dude. They're fun. I don't know. It's kind of funny to me that I didn't like see any of this stuff, and then I like saw it after the fact. I was like, man, that's fucking great advertising. I love that. I should play this game. Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah. Nah, so it's a super fun game. I actually didn't like it that much at first. I didn't dislike it, but like it did not grip me. I would go on like a 10 to 15 minute run, and then I'd be like, that's good for me. And I would cycle through. It's kind of funny. Mario Golf still. What's up? And then another roguelike, Slay the Spire, and then this one. And I would play them in a rotation. I would do a run of this, and then I would do a run of Slay the Spire, and then I would do like a quick online match of Mario Golf, and then I would repeat. So it's kind of funny because that's why, like, I mean, should we air it out now as far as just talking about this with other roguelikes, or should we move on with some of our other agendas and return to that? Because it was kind of impossible to not think of the different roguelikes next to each other, but we should talk about like some bosses.
Sure.
Other stuff first. I didn't run into all the bosses myself.
No, nor have I. I made a list for our notes on this, and I'm like, I don't even know who this person is.
These are all totally new. Yeah,
and it could be a DLC problem too. I'm not sure about that either.
Stupid DLC in this game.
I will say I'm not happy about the DLC aspect of this game.
Yeah, because it doesn't. We can complain about this one quickly. Either in between levels, you're trying to go on to the next level, and they'll be like, you don't have the DLC. And I'm like, why the hell is it in the game then?
My understanding is they released it slightly unfinished. I mean, it's a finished game, but I think it was one of those deals where they had more planned for it.
Post-launch content.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, DLC in general, I'm okay with it sometimes, but I don't like how it's incorporated here because what you just brought up about this fact that you can see it, and it's like the natural game flow of the game would have you enter this room, but it's locked to you because you haven't paid for the DLC.
There's a specific one in the first biome.
Yeah, it's like the gardeners or something.
Yeah, so you read this little mysterious note, you get this key, then you do this cool platforming up, and then I'm like, oh, cool, I've never been here, and I'm like, and I won't for the time being.
And to be honest, I will eventually buy the DLC because I do like this game, and I'm very intrigued by like some of the other stuff they might add. But I've got it in my wish list. I'm gonna wait for those to drop on a little sale.
Right,
they're not super expensive, but it's the principle.
Right. I just like, and I also like to kind of like maybe not master the base game before I move on to the DLC, but I don't really like to blend those experiences together. So like, if I do buy it, it'll be on sale, and it'll be when I've beaten the game and kind of gotten way more familiar with the. And
I'm not sure where they are with this one. If they're going to continue, they might be done with their DLC now, and I'm not sure about that. If they are, I'm more inclined to buy. Like for a good example is Cuphead. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to play Cuphead or not because I heard it's pretty grueling. But I like shmups, and I think it's the art school, so I'll eventually get it. But I was holding out because I would like a physical copy of it. And they weren't going to make that until their final DLC. So, like, I prefer buying games, especially, I didn't buy this physical, so it's not as big of a deal. But I prefer complete games, man.
Yeah, it's the motion of the ocean on that one. It's the way of the world these days. I just got to deal with it.
And you know what? They're an indie developer, motion twin and shit. So it's like, honestly, like I get it, but it's
a lot of the times that's like, I don't know if they did any crowdfunding, but I know with like
I think they did, man. I think some of the DLC was planned Kickstarter content.
It's Shovel Knight. I know that when they were doing the Kickstarter, they're like, if we get to this launch, we're gonna have another playable character with its own storyline. When Shovel Knight's awesome. Do they mention Shovel Knight in this game? I know when you first start, it's pretty awesome. There's this little thing for you to read.
Yep.
And the developers like very playfully bring up a lot of like their indie brothers and sisters. Totally. I thought that was really cool. So they shout out like, and you can see this in the weapons too. Like I immediately kind of loved how you see this, and they mention games like Hollow Knight, Guacamelee, Skull, Blasphemous, Dying Light.
Dude, I can't remember. It's a long list, but I love how self-aware it is, and it is funny.
But then you run into weapons inspired by those games. So like one of the first weapons I unlocked was or maybe just ran into was the pure nail, which is and it changes the mechanics to be like Hollow Knight, where you can do a down attack and an up attack. That's really cool and bouncy, and I thought that was really fun.
Nice.
So I loved seeing that, and I've played a few of those games, so it was really kind of fun to see them shout that out, and then to have like. Yeah, I definitely unlocked it because there's the little bench, and that's where you rest in Hollow Knight to save and heal up.
Sure.
So, like, your character is like, I feel like resting. And it's a little cheeky. It's a very cheeky game.
Yeah, it's this cheeky, self-aware thing. I love when games do that, so it was really cool.
Even you get little achievements. Yeah. And the things they give you an achievement for, like, there's always doors, and you can just smash through the door, or you can gently open the door with a button. And one of my favorite achievements was he's like, you got through a level without breaking a door. And I was like,
I have yet to achieve that.
It was pretty deep into a run when I had unlocked that. And I was like, that's kind of funny.
That is cool. There's another fun one. If you do that down smash we've been talking about, if you down smash into the spikes, there's like a cheeky little like award you get. You get another award if you down smash into like just a gaping hole.
Just for being an idiot, essentially. They're just like, way to go, champ. It's like, I'm pretty sure one of them's labeled like, we've all been there.
Yeah.
So...
No, I love it. What kind of weapon? Like, what are your preferred weapons? We mentioned we're not super into the shields, except you are
assault
pro.
Shield.
You are pro
assault shield. I love the freeze one, the freeze blast. That's super killer, especially for bosses, which we were going to talk about a while ago. But we only run into like 2 or 3 of them, so it's whatever. But I'm super into the freeze blast. I love that.
Yeah.
For weapons, I mix it up every time. I kind of like the crowbar. I want to say that's a reference to Half-Life.
Oh, sure, that makes sense.
Pretty sure that is, but I could be wrong. That's kind of fun because when you smash a door with the crowbar, you get like a critical hit bonus for the next amount of seconds. So I don't have a favorite melee weapon. I have a favorite ranged. I really much like the freeze blast or anything that freezes. And then we didn't even mention, but on the right and left trigger, you get 2 little like traps /
Those are key too.
Yeah,
because I didn't use them at first.
What do they even call them? What would you call them?
Shit, I don't even know.
Items, I guess. Yeah, just items. It can be grenades. There's the face flask, which I hate.
I don't understand why that's even a thing. I know what it's from.
You smash it over your face. What is it from?
It's like a blasphemous knot, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, you smash it over your face, and it takes down a little bit of your health and gives you more attack damage for a brief amount of time, so I never choose that one. There's like a weird like injector needle thing that like boosts your max HP for a certain amount of time. I rarely use that.
Don't use any of those things.
But there's traps, like little bear or wolf trap looking things. Those are super key against bosses because it holds them in place and does some damage. And then there's some buffs.
You got the buzzsaw one ever?
No, I don't think so.
That's cool. It's like you throw it on the ground. It's a bunch of these buzzsaws so they cut up your enemies or whatever.
That might be the turret thing that I use.
No, turrets are cool too. Those are really nice. There's a couple different turrets. There's like a flamethrower turret. There's a... I hate on me.
You could have moved on. I was just sticking over.
There's another one that shoots arrows, but those are great because you throw them out there and it'll basically attack your enemy for you. And they have HP themselves, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and if
they're on a timer too, right?
They
so
do
like
certain things,
right? They're on a timer too. So if you throw, for example, if you throw a turret out there. And each item has a different timer, so like it's going to be 10 seconds before you can use it again. But if in the case of a turret, if it's been 10 seconds and it's still rocking and rolling, you can throw another one out there and then you have 2, so you can kind of compound those. Which
I always
is
notice
nice.
It replaces the one that you.
Nah,
I've never seen multiples, so maybe it's the type I'm using.
Could be the type you're using. I've been able to get. I've never done more than 2, but I've been able to get 2 out there at the same time, which is nice. But yeah, compound those up together. Basically, dude, you may recall early on when we were like starting to play this game more. And I'd hit you up, and I was like, I can't. We can get to these bosses you want to talk about now.
Yeah.
So the
concierge.
Concierge is the first boss that I've encountered. I actually haven't encountered the other. There's the Conjunctivus and Mamatic. I don't even know who they are.
I've never seen Mamatic.
But Concierge, dude, he used to beat me every single time. It was so frustrating. And I would hit you up, and you'd be like, "It's cool, man. You give him next run," and then next run he'd fuck me up again.
Mamatic is for the DLC for the Dilapidated Arboretum.
Oh, is that the
Because
deal?
I'm looking at your wonderfully made list of biomes.
Word.
Spent a ton of time talking about, but so that you always start off in the prisoner's quarters. That's the quote unquote first stage biome, and then the second stage is a choice between the Promenade of the Condemned or the Toxic Sewers.
Yeah.
I think the Promenade of the Condemned is where you run into the Conjunctivus or whatever.
Is it really?
And it's like a giant eyeball thing with some tentacles and so
Interesting.
it's pretty cool boss. I remember running into that and thinking it was pretty gnarly. Concierge is usually pretty easy for me, but sometimes
he's a beast though.
Not as much sexual attention as with Meg.
Yeah, right.
Shout out 80s. But yeah, they're kind of tough, and then you get a pretty sweet reward for beating them, and then you run into the blacksmiths in the little entry or the space in
safe
between
area
levels, safe areas. That's what we've been calling it. And then when you put your cells into that, which is the upgrade currency, you can like increase the chance that you find weapons that have the plus or the plus plus designation. And then there's eventually an S tier, I think, that you unlock.
Oh, okay.
So I try to run into that guy, but I don't always make it to the bosses, let alone beat the bosses. So it's kind of a gamble. You get a achievement for dying and leaving behind more than 100 souls. They're like, oh, that hurts. And I'm like,
yeah.
yes, it did. You are correct.
Oh, that is rough.
Yeah.
Or cells, not souls, right?
Cells, yes, for the dead cells. So it's the bosses are cool. They're pretty grueling, obviously. I mean, they're just like a supercharged enemy, and then a lot of them have like a break period where like you hit it, you chop down their health bar, and then they go off and hide like on screen but not hittable, and then they have their little minions they send at you.
Oh,
And that really
Concierge do that?
He's the only one that doesn't that
Yeah, I
I've
didn't
run
think
into.
so.
But the conjunctivus, he does, or it does,
Right on.
whatever. And then the last boss definitely does. It
Word.
sends those little
Hand of the king.
Yeah, those sends those little priest dudes that keep shooting those beams that travel through walls and stuff and platforms, and those are ugh.
Dude, the
those dudes.
I've encountered the Hand of the King twice. The first time I beat him, I just mopped the floor with him, dude.
Dang.
My build
Flex.
was insane. I was using that freeze blast we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just froze the shit out of him and then just like attacked the heck out of him, and like dude, it wasn't even and I had my two other items like the R2, L2 or whatever it was. Or maybe the R buttons.
You get the point.
Yeah. So I had my turrets going. I had like, I don't remember. Maybe it was those buzzsaws that I was talking about, but I was messing them up and it was quick. And I was like, really? And then like, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I was a little surprised at how easily I beat him.
Nice.
But I had a major build going because I haven't been able to recreate that.
Yeah, I've gotten to him once. And one big issue for me is that, so we've, in the biomes and there's different ones, there's different options, but there's this one, it's the Forgotten Spetulcher. Sepulcher.
Sepulcher.
Yeah, if you know what that word is, congrats. I appreciate your English major having self. But that is like, I just hate that level. And
That
I
one
didn't.
is tough. Is that the one with the lights?
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
like follow and stay in the light, and if you're out of the light, like your health will drain. But you just get into these situations where it's a long time in between
Yeah.
and the enemies are still tough as heck. So it's just like it just sucks. And I had some super awesome runs where I got stuck in that, and I was still playing in the mindset of like speed. I didn't know that there's multiple doors each time you play.
Yeah.
I thought it was by chance because I wasn't fully exploring every map.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some huge runs that died in those areas, and it was infuriating. And then recently I've had more success getting to like the last area because I would pick the clock tower instead, because the clock tower is super manageable compared to that forgotten stupid dark area. So pro tip, just avoid that one.
Clock Tower is nice, yeah.
Unless you're looking for that.
Interestingly,
type of thing,
that-
but I hated it.
Interestingly, the boss that's after the timekeeper is super easy, I thought. Like, every time I play him, I've never been beat by the timekeeper.
It just mopped him, and I was just like, well, this was nice.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
No,
Not even a health. Like, no need to even like use your little, because you can upgrade a little thing
Right.
where you can take a swig of this health potion.
Oh, yeah. How many do you got? How many do you...
I think I maxed it out. It's 3, 4.
Four, I think.
It's worth it.
That was key,
It's-
too. So,
yeah.
like, having that really changed the game to be able to give yourself a little health through your runs.
And you can unlock that immediately, so the game definitely pushes you in that direction, and it's pretty key.
Yeah, and it's, so it's as it's a roguelite, the thing is like I have rolled the credits, but I still feel like I have hours and hours of gameplay the rest of
probably a
this.
ton to do.
One, it's fun. Obviously, even without the DLC, like there's still different paths for me to explore, ton of weapons to get. So like this is a game that's going to be in my rotation for a long time.
Yeah, I would say that I definitely played more of it because I had the motivation of beating it and being able to talk about it on the pod, especially when like I told you probably about a week or two ago, I was like, I don't have much to say about the game.
Yeah.
I was like, it's pretty chill. I can't seem to beat it, which is very Enter the Gungeon of me. That game is so hard. But
I like that game too, but I haven't gotten nearly. Yeah, I've rolled the credits in this one. Not a chance on it to the Gungeon.
Yeah, we'll put you in the school of Velasco. He'll let you know what's good on the Gungeon. Yeah, so it was hard for me to play, like, sustained a bunch of runs together. I was doing it in that rotation, and then the kind of competition and knowing I was going to be doing the pod definitely made it cool. And now I'm wondering, because I've been
He was
having
trying
a
to
lot
retain that capital G is what he was trying to do.
No, that shit talk got me. But I'm like kind of curious. I've been thinking about it since like yesterday. I was like, I've been having the motivation to play it, but the fact that it's like a downloaded game and it's like it'll be very easy to flip in and out of.
Right.
So I'll probably keep playing it. I don't know about the motivation to beat it, but it'll certainly be a game, like you said, in the rotation along with some other games of its type, which could be a nice little transition here.
Yeah, well, first real quick,
Roguelikes.
so
Nope.
similar to Hades,
Nope.
this game is going to be about an hour to beat. to roll the
That
credits.
makes sense.
It's
'cause
just
that's
slightly
about
over an
how-
hour.
That's how long I was along
Yeah.
yesterday before work.
And that's
so
the thing about these games, whether it's Hades, Gungeon, Dead Cells. Like if you you get yourself, I know that an hour is not a long time. I mean, it is a long time, but like the thing, that's just it though. So you get an hour deep, and then you lose to the boss, and you're like, ugh, I got to do that over again.
And plus, like,
Fortunately, it's fun. So it's like it's fun to like, let's just do another run.
well, and it's like this is the weird kind of thing to say, but the relationship you have with the game. Like when I first started playing, like it was fun to have these little micro runs of like 10 to 15 minutes, but then that 10 to 15 minutes turns into 15 to 30,
Right.
and then 30 to 30, 45. So like now, if I picked it up and played it, chances are I'm getting at least a half an hour in. Whereas when you first started playing it, you're doing multiple runs. Funny is when I first started playing Enter the Gungeon, I had port over, and I was like, you gotta see this game, man. It'll be like 10 minutes, and then we'll head out. And like 40 minutes later, I was like, I've never been this far. I know you're bored, but shut up and keep watching. I'm not stopping here.
Yeah.
So like, that's kind of what this game is turning into. It's like no longer a quick little session. But
Totally. Hades was that way too.
yeah. But the thing is the different things about Hades, I just got so obsessed with it.
The
That
story was so great in Hades.
and the way it combined with the gameplay just kept pushing you forward to keep talking to people and keep going. So like, I did not like you said you thought you might like this game better than Hades, and I told you you're out your goddamn mind, and that's fine. You're,
And my
you're
comment-
allowed to have stinky takes occasionally, but
I mean, if you look at it, the thing is this though, dude. I do think if you had to make me choose which is a better game, I do think Hades is a better game.
yeah,
That said, I love Metroidvanias, and I'm starting to really like roguelites.
Yeah.
And I also grew up on platformers. So this game like is like my perfect
you
game.
might have a point. You're just still wrong. I like the like in Hades. I like being able to build out your run and just how like unique and like just addicting.
I
That
feel like you
is.
can plan your run better in Hades than you can in this one because you're at the mercy of the random items at the beginning, right?
Yeah, and it's just like the way that your things affect your gameplay in Hades, I feel is more gratifying. It's just, I find like Hades is like the masterclass of this genre of game, in my opinion. It is the cream of the crap.
Sure.
I think this one's cool. It is more accessible than Enter the Gungeon, I will definitely say.
Yeah.
I can't, that game is so hard, and like, I've probably put 80 hours into that over the time I've owned it, because it was the first roguelike I ever played.
Sure.
So that there was a long time of getting to understand how to play these games, whereas like my learning curve is much better these days than it used to be when I had Gungeon. And then like Slay the Spire is another example. It's completely different than the others, but like you have this deck building game, which I think is really cool, and I really like that. And it's static, like it's turn based. So like it's really nice. We talked earlier how this is like very much a podcast game for me.
Sure.
Dead Cells being is that I can listen to a pod when my brain is just dead and I want to play a game, but also like here's some audio, TV or whatever, podcast.
That said, I do like the music in this game.
Oh, music, sound effects, it's all cool. But like I end up just kind of liking to turn on a pod and zoning out and playing the game. I think it's really cool for that.
It does present itself nicely.
Slay the Spire is perfect for TV watching because it's static and it's
Sure.
not so fluid, and you're not like if you're looking away
That's
for a
turn-based,
second.
right?
Yep.
Yep.
So if you're looking away for a second in this one,
Yeah, you're going to die in this.
but yeah.
I will note, too, that this is the first game that I've played. I ended up upgrading to the OLED, and it looks really pretty on the OLED. Because it's a darker game. You're in these dungeons or whatever. There's a lot of blacks. It looks good. It looks real nice.
And I will say, capital G gamer when it comes to roguelikes is once again Tyler, because he had this game for the last week of his Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, yeah.
So he just had a hot and heavy week where he crushed it. And I think he was
Nice.
able to beat it within that week.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, no, I mean he's the only person I know that can beat Enter the Gungeon and multiple times and do all the things like of the yeah, no, it's his game. It's his game. We always joked about him getting a little tattoo of the Marine. He should get it on his butt. Come on, dude. Just do it.
I love it.
Yeah, no, so
I
he
think
was
that's-
able to crush this game, and I'm a little surprised now. I'm a little closer to being able to beat it now. So, like, I can, unlike Enter the Gungeon, I can actually see a path to me beating it. And then Slay the Spire is beatable, but then there's, like, this super hardcore mode where you do this specific stuff to get there, and I'm kind of stuck there.
Word.
So, and then Hades, I crushed that in all of the iterations of that. And
Right on.
kind of can't wait to go back and redo that whole game someday.
Dude, I only have to. I do pull that up every once in a while and just do a run or whatever. And I am like maybe 1 or 2 runs off of just doing the final end game. Like,
oh, it was totally worth it. You should have done it when you're in the mode.
I know.
Now that you have to relearn stuff, it'd be
I
a
know.
little harder, but
you know, a couple runs, I'll be back on.
Probably, yeah.
So, dude, with Dead Cells, I think the last thing that I want to say is,
I thought you were about to be like, yeah, you couldn't beat it. All right, moving on. I really thought that's where you were going there. You had a stupid look on your
I was
face.
gonna say with Dead Cells, man. I think the only other thing, a lot of thing we like to. Would you recommend this game to? How would you recommend this game to folks? Because this is something that I've been struggling's not right because it's fucking not that big a deal. But like when I explain people the game that I'm focusing on for the pod. Interestingly, a lot of people have maybe heard of this, but they have no idea what it is. So it's been an interesting little deal running in, out in the wild, talking to people about vids or whatever. And it's like, when it comes to Dead Cells, I really enjoy this game. I'm not sure. I haven't 100% landed on what my recommendation for it is. Where do you stand on here? Would you recommend Dead Cells?
Yeah, I mean, just right off the bat, yeah, as far as I think it's a really cool game. I had a lot of fun with it. I would say that if you have not played the roguelike genre before, I would not start with it.
Sure.
I'd probably start with Hades.
Right on.
And then if you have played the roguelike genre, it would just be like, yeah, absolutely, you're going to love this one.
Yeah.
It's going to take you a little bit of time. But then, previously, like you said, you're a big Metroidvania guy. If you like that style, like you loved Hollow Knight, and you want something similar and kind of more of an arcadey, fluid gameplay with the runs, absolutely. But
it's arcadey too. That's another thing, dude. That's why this game's so dope to me.
What does that even mean, though? I said arcadey? It to sound smart, but I don't even know what it really means.
To me, it's like fast action, like
smashing.
You can do quick plays, smashing around, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
don't have to like get super involved with like a story, that type of deal.
So I would have said that when I was in the early aughts of the game, probably the first 5 hours, I would have said no, and then from 5 to 10, I would have said for sure, and then. No, absolutely. Yeah. So it took some time. I mean, whatever that means.
Sure.
It took some time for me to actually really open up to it, right and the motivation of the pod really helped. But yeah,
cool, man.
How about you?
Cool. Yeah, no, I said, I definitely would, but I wouldn't recommend it to like your typical casual, like but if you're up for a little challenge and if you like, the types of games that we've been talking about, then 100% for sure. This did win a bunch of awards in 2018. I want to say, like, it's definitely critically acclaimed. So
had a lot of attention at the time. It's not your typical super indie. It's out
and
there.
It's interesting, so you can play it on your phone, which is kind of dope. I don't think I'd want to, but
the button controls.
It would be interesting.
I have no idea how you would do that well, but some people be out here and that's all they got is their phone, and they're happy to have it on their phone. So why not?
Right. Well, cool, man. Dead Cells. I dig it.
This one goes out to the real Wolves fans. We out here. Ooh. We're not just not bad. We out here good.
What do you know about 3-point champions?
Yeah, well, what do you know about making fun of Cat because Cat loves to go on a victory tour about himself, and my man's got corny quotes. But we're not here for that. What we're here for is if you owned an Alexei Shved t-shirt, if you thought Ryan Gomes was the answer, if you thought Nikola Pekovic was awesome, if you've just been out here in the desert of competent basketball and you've just been waiting for this oasis of good basketball since you was literally in the 3rd grade, we out here. We a playoff team. The stupid first time we're going to be in the playoff running is also within the years where they finally
I like how you threw running in there because
there's
it's not sealed yet.
It should be. It's just the problem is they do the play-in tournament now. So the 7 and 8 seeds have to play against the 9, or what would be the 9 and the 10 seeds, and so all Timberwolves fans, all the real ones out here are sitting here because it's like we've been in an abusive relationship for over a decade now. We know better than to hope for good things. We're very cynical. It would be the most if you're the 7 seed, which we are. It would be the most Timberwolvesy thing of all time to lose the play-in game and then lose the next one to be completely out of the playoffs. When in previous years you would have been automatic. Dude, we don't talk about it, so we're fighting.
Knock on some wood over here.
Right. The boys are fighting. The boys are fighting to get this 6 seed so they completely avoid the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
It's just Nikola Jokic in Denver. They just be balling. Jokic is just imagine your childhood. Just this kid who has to wipe the boogers out of his nose and drinks a liter of Mountain Dew. He used to literally do that. He does not look like an athlete, but my man is just a baller. I love him. I hate him, though, because he keeps winning with a ragtag team and keeps just in front of us in this 6 seed. But, hey, We will welcome you to the bandwagon when the Wolves are champions/good.
Dog.
But all the real ones know, like, we have the battle scars. We deserve this. It's been some years since when we begged for competent basketball, let alone good, and the team loves each other and they're fun. So this is just a celebration, dog.
Did you know that Kanye is going to save the Timberwolves?
I'm a fix Wolves.
Did you see that?
Wolves been fixed. Pat Bev texted or tweeted that like a day or two ago, like, no need to fix, and he added Kanye or whatever.
That's hilarious.
No, but the team's awesome. Once again, the real ones deserve this. If you've spent most of your basketball watching life reading draft coverage because you're just excited for next year already, then you know that when you finally actually get to see a 40 to 50 win team, I think it's more like 40 to 45 win team is what we'll probably end up at. But that's crazy, man. All I've seen is sadness. So,
dude,
shouts out to the real ones.
You say abusive relationship, right? This reminds me of a story with the Timberwolves, dude. When I was a kid, back in grade school, we did the school patrol or whatever.
Sure.
Right?
Shouts out to flags.
Yeah.
Holding flags.
Safety flags, brah.
Yes, sir. Some vests.
So there's this thing, I'm pretty sure it was via the school patrol program, where they would hook up an entire sheet of beautiful printed, like, we're talking like holograph, like fucking sweet ass, dope ass playoff tickets. Timberwolves playoff tickets. And they got like, this is KG era and shit, dude. Like, got KG on like the finals championship game, and I had a ticket to go. I had 2 tickets to go, right? But the caveat is they had to make it to the playoffs. So like you could use these tickets, like these playoff tickets, like they give it to you during the season, like early in the season, and you could use these fuckers if they made it to the playoffs, and they wouldn't fucking make it. So I never got to use my fucking awesome tickets.
Nah, and the Timberwolves have done. There's like some really amazing writer is going to have to just like write a super sarcastic book about how like literally anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Like, we are the definition of inept. But anyway, this isn't a sports pod. This is just a celebration of the real ones coming through. And then an extra special shout out to Arthur. Arthur, 25. I mean, as a former PBS employee, Al, I know this is real deep and dear to your heart. You know, TPT. I know you're real big into Arthur.
Arthur was dope, kind of.
Well, for sure.
Books
but they all grew up as kids, or they're all adults now, and like obviously DW's a cop, so like fucking A, DW. I knew you sucked, DW. I knew you were a narc. That's all I gotta say. Fuck
right
DW.
on.
Fuck DW for life. Cops are cool, but sometimes, but like not DW. Fucking DW.
I'm cutting that shit out of the pod, cops. Whatever.
You can cut a bunch out, but don't cut out my fuck DW.
Oh yeah, that stays. That stays. What else you been playing, dude? You want to start or should I go?
I kind of went through my rotation. I got some other stuff, but you go with yours.
Cool. You know, been playing the Dead Cells, but I'm getting in some Blasphemous recently.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's very much a Metroidvania, right?
Yeah, so it's actually one that like dropped on sale, and I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna get this. And you're like, don't do it, Al. Yeah. And I was like, nah, I won't. And then like a month later, it dropped on sale again. And I was like, you know what? Fuck Luke, I'm getting it.
You're not my dad.
and I got it, and I haven't progressed that far in it, mostly because I've been focusing on this and a couple other things. But I had gotten far enough to get a feel for the controls and everything, and it's really interesting, like weird Catholic like shit going on, but it's very dark. But I listened to another podcast called Tales from a Backlog. Shout out to those guys. And they did a Blasphemous episode. So dudes there were tweeting out a few different screenshots of it, and the art in it's really cool. And it was just like, I was like, all right, cool. Like, I think I am going to revisit this. And dude actually suggested changing the audio, the voice acting to Spanish. Because the Blasphemous is actually, their Spanish developers are from Spain, right? So the voice acting.
Is it like very inspired by like what's that era of like Spanish Catholicism that got really fucked up?
Probably.
Man, this is gonna kill me. The Inquisitors and like
the Inquisition.
The Inquisition. There we go.
Yeah.
Very Inquisition heavy type of style.
Probably,
era.
I would assume so. Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's
continue.
But for the game itself, it's not actually Catholicism. It's like this. There's this weird event called like the Miracle or something, and then, I don't know. It's like not necessarily good. Like it benefits some people, it doesn't other people, and you're this like weird knight dude that like has this weird
big
pointy helmet.
Yeah, that triggers me. I'm like,
actually, me too. I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know about that, but like the rest, like that's whatever, dude. The game's super metal, like the art and like the music and this gameplay. It's super metal, like it's interesting. I'm starting to really like it, and I love that I switched it over to Spanish. just because the voice acting in Spanish. You can read the
Subs.
You can read the subs.
Okay.
So like, so even if you don't speak Spanish, it just sounds cooler, man. It's super fun. So shout out to Tales of the Backlog folks for hyping up that game a little bit for me. I'm having fun starting to play that. The other game that I've been putting the most time into is actually Cyberpunk 2077. So about a year, some change since release.
Yeah.
My computer was actually able to handle it pretty well, but the game has seen so many. This patch 1.5 or whatever it is.
How big did you make your dick, though? How big did you make your dick?
Average. But I was a little, because I made my character and everything way back when it first launched, and I never got too far into the game. Dude, honestly, I just wasn't good. Like I needed to polish up on video games, dude. And like all our time on Skyrim got me better at using the keyboard and mouse again.
It's an adjustment for a console gamer that you've been your whole life. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, dude, I've been having a lot of fun with that. I've been playing through that a little bit, and it's been really cool. Like I'm a little bit better at it now, so that's nice. I don't just get murked when I like run through. Yeah. I think they've actually changed it enough too, where like I do think that they've like fixed some of the weapon balance. The driving is way better in it now, which like you don't have to do a shit ton of driving. I mean, there's a decent amount of driving, but the point is like driving was horrid. Like it was like not even fun to drive, and now it's cool. So it's a game now, which is cool.
The stories that came from that development and just the lessons learned are just a snapshot of how weird this has all gotten.
Yeah, it's but that one's been fun. I bring up I built my character when it first launches. If I was far enough in where it didn't make sense to restart, I do wish that I was playing as a female. Because I've heard that the voice acting is just so much better than the dude that played. So V's your character regardless. That's just the name V. But yeah, the dude's voice acting it's whatever.
Sure.
So I wish I would have done the girl, because I think it'd be just like, as far as the story, it's just be more fun.
77. We will finish the game in 2077.
For real. But I've been loving it, dude. It's cool. It's a fun one. So
you got a high powered rig there, so.
I do.
Kind of got to make it worth it.
Yeah, totally.
Man's got this powered PC and just plays mostly platformers on him. So,
dude, one of the first games, one of the shout outs to the, go back to the backlogs, check out Prince of Persia, the first one we officially dropped. That was like one of the first games on my PC. I got the NVIDIA 3080, and here I am playing fucking Prince of Persia 80, whatever it was, 80.
Same.
Early 80s, whatever.
Yeah. Bet.
What else, man? I think I've been playing, I know I've been playing a little bit of Mario Golf as well. Those 3 games, basically.
Had to get that stupid Shy Guy skins. They had 2 really good skins in a row to unlock 3, actually, and then they drop back off to just like, here's some whack colorways. So it's whatever. Still a cool game, but I would have made a better one. You can hire me anytime you want, Camelot. I'm ready for you. You looking for extras to add?
I am, dude. I just wanted to check real quick if there's anything I should be saying. And the only other... Nah. Oh, yeah. Well, I finally bit the bullet and picked up Hyrule Warriors and Cadence of Hyrule. In like a moment of weakness, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of a Zelda stan, and I feel like I should have these games.
You should, if we do the Majora's one, you should definitely try to pair that with some Cadence, because I thought it was a really cool game.
Dude, I will tell you what, man. Like, the music is pretty dope.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's actually a ton of fun. And it's like it takes a while to get good at it, but it's a fun, super fun game.
You know what made me? You know what pushed me over the edge and was like, just get Cadence, or not Cadence of Hyrule. You've been telling me to get it for a long time, and so do you have Hyrule Warriors?
I have Hyrule Warriors. I don't have the one that I think would actually be good.
Do you have Age of Calamity?
I don't.
So that's the one I got. But
that one, dude, I kind of want it. Yeah.
It's cool. I've started to play a little bit, but I love that. I don't know. I really like the. What is that based off of? It's
Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty Warriors. Yeah. Dude, that like fast hack and slash, like I'm into it. So, and the reason my remind, because I played some Dynasty Warriors back in the day.
Yeah, at Kenny's house.
But I went to the local game shop the other day, and I always like picking up a couple carts that are interesting while I'm there, to support them and to support my habits.
Right. Make this sound altruistic.
Right.
Just jonesing for some fresh cards.
But I picked up Dynasty Warriors Advance.
That's clowning.
And it's surprisingly like dope.
That's the dumbest thing I've heard.
Nah, dude, it's so cool. So I've been playing that shit a little bit too. And then that was like, I was like, oh yeah, I do like that Dynasty Warriors, like setup or whatever. I like that type of gameplay. So I was like, Fucking, I should just get the Zelda thing.
Hyrule Warriors, I got it because it's like there is like 300 hours of gameplay, and I'm like, yeah, but you're doing the same thing the whole time, and like the little missions on there drive me kind of nuts. But I think the Age of Calamity would be a better one.
It's a better
for
story,
me.
I think.
Yeah, so I've been playing.
You know what's interesting though? That Hyrule Warriors, it's
Yeah.
becoming collectible.
Yeah, which is I have the physicals, so that's dope. But
Because
transition,
they don't produce it anymore. So if you even the digital copy is still 60 bones.
Yeah.
And then if you want the physical, you're going to be paying at least $60 for that. Plus, because you can't get a hold anywhere, and you know how it goes. People, scarcity. It's going to drive up the price.
You know how Alex is out there getting. I got to get them physicals.
Yeah, I got a copy coming in the mail.
But I'll sell you mine, dude. $80.
$80, son?
I think I got it for 40 on some sort of sale.
I think I picked it up for $35 on.
Just had to one up me by $5, really.
Well, I pay shipping, so it probably came to 40.
I bet.
But I got it off some app that I'm not going to shout out because they ain't paying us.
Dang. Transition, Zelda. I've been playing Majora's Mask. It's been sick. I love that game. It's been a ton of fun. I'm trying to do it without a guide. More on that later. It's been successful, though, so it's been really cool.
Later? This shit coming to an end.
I meant on the other future pod. Asshole. Talks about buying a collectible version of Dynasty Warriors ripoff Zelda game for 5 minutes and won't let me have 10 seconds of Majora's Mask. Anyway, still working on Twilight Princess. It's very much been a year of Zeldas for me, which is awesome. Love it. Picked up the major motion film Death Stranding.
Oh yeah,
and all 7 hours of the cutscenes. I still need to pick that back up because I kind of vibed with the actual exploration walking sim version of it. The cutscenes drive me nuts, but
that was tough for me when I started playing that game too.
But the actual gameplay is like oddly fun, and the nature of it is gorgeous.
It's fun in like a is this fun type of way.
You wouldn't think so, but I'm like, yeah, I want to walk and see if I can get across this stupid ladder. Like, I like it. I like the traversal of it.
You inspired me to pick it up, and I put a couple more hours into it. But I
want to do that, and then still I'm trying to get all the Superstar Club sets in Mario Golf, so that gives me motivation to play.
You get the medals too.
That's how you get one of the medals. That's the one I'm working on, and I'm just kind of working through my different characters, and that's been fun.
Word.
And then so it's been the 3 games I mentioned earlier as far as that rotation of Mario Golf, Dead Cells, and Slay to Spire. Strong recommend. So there you are.
Nice.
It's been pretty dope. And then the Cuphead show. It's cool. I've never played the game, but I like the Cuphead show. 15-minute episodes, sick art. It's fun to watch gameplay of them fighting the bosses because the episodes make more sense.
Well, I think that's it, man. That's a wrap. Till next time. Join the Discord. Tell your friends.
Shouts out.
Bye.
Peace.
All right.
Yes,
I get the last word.
You get to edit, so there's really no point in me trying.
Bye, everybody. Lo-Fi Gaming is a Studio Lo-Fi production. Our theme music was produced by AJ Norman, and our show art was designed by Studio Dayjob. We're an independent podcast and would love if you supported us by listening, subscribing, and sharing us with your friends. Visit us at lo5gaming.com.